Okay, so here we'll be working on module 2, and in this one we'll be creating a piece for our assembly that will be able to work with the Lego piece that we just made. So we can start with creating, and this will be our third object, so we'll call this BP003. Remember to be using your first initial, last initial, and it seems like it already automatically changed our bookmark to module 2, which is great, so that allows us to go ahead and keep track pretty easily. So we can go ahead and hit OK to go ahead and start with the creation of our part. And now that it's loaded, we can go ahead and start with creating the piece. So we can go ahead and start with creating a sketch on the XY plane. And then we'll do a rectangle to start out with, as always. And this will be 8 millimeters by 16 millimeters because we're just going to do 1 by 2. Just something simple, nothing too out of the ordinary. So we'll go over to features, we'll do an extrusion, and we'll do a 9.6 millimeter extrusion like before. And there we go. We now have our basis. We can go ahead and turn off the planes just for viewing purposes. And we can go back over to sketch. We can create a sketch on the top right here. And then we can start with creating. So we can go ahead and turn on our construction lines so we don't have to worry about getting rid of them or anything because they're just being used for construction. We'll do 4 millimeters, and then we'll do 8 millimeters to go over to the other side. We'll turn off the construction lines, and the reason that we do 8 millimeters is because it's 4 millimeters away from the edge since we did 16. So now we'll do 4.8 millimeters, and then we'll do that again, and we see that pink right there, that just allows us to go ahead and copy what we did right there fairly easily. So now we can go back over to features, we can do an extrusion, and we will do 1.6 millimeters this time. We hit the check mark, and then we can see that it looks good. So now we just need to go ahead and do a shell. So we can go scroll over a bit, do a shell right there. We'll do 1.6 millimeters. We can hit the check mark. And then we have one more thing that we need to do. So this is something that we haven't done before. So I'll go ahead and full screen again for viewing purposes. And then what we'll want to do is do a sketch on the inside. And then what we'll do is go ahead and start drawing because the shell won't do this middle area right here, but we need to still have that separation for if we want to go ahead and connect multiple pieces. So what we need to do is go over by 1.6 millimeters, then we'll go down to the other side, we'll go over by 3.2 millimeters, since we do everything in 1.6s, go over, and that kind of does the 1.6 millimeter shell on both sides. Once they're combined, it's going to be a 3.2 millimeter gap right there. Fill right there. So when we go back over to features, we can do extrusion, and where there's that 1.6 millimeter shell, we will just go ahead and do 8 to make it line up smoothly. And there we go. We now have that created. We can go ahead and save this real quick to make sure we don't lose our progress. While it's saving, we'll go ahead and exit. I'll go ahead and save one more time just to make sure. You can never save too many times. Then we'll go ahead and scroll down, and then we need to go to our deliverables, as always. And then we will go ahead and drop this down into our deliverables. So now that we have that in there, we can save that real quick. And then let's see how many things we need to. So we will go make our second component, which you did right there, and then we'll be making the assembly. So we are already halfway done with this right here. So we can move this up to 50% complete, just so we know where we're at with our work. And then with that, we can go ahead and say that we're good for this step. So you can go ahead and move on to the next step.